Well, welcome to the Hasn't It Been 3 Days podcast. Justin and BJ here. We talk 3-day-old news, sports, whatever, something about listening, laughing, hating. I don't know. I hope this whole podcast isn't just me. Wait, hang on. He is here. Hallelujah. BJ, how do we do this? Do you record these things ahead of time and you just do them? Is that what really happens? Because you're really good at this.
Hold on, let me press the button.
Okay.
Welcome to the Hasn't Been 3 Days podcast. Your host, Justin and BJ. We talk about 3-day-old news, sports, and whatever else we want to talk about. You know, it's funny because people don't understand, unless they've been on the show, kind of how we pregame and talk about what we're going to do. But I just, for those of you listening, and thank you for those of you listening, you MVP listeners, you are listening, and I am thankful for that. So, but we'll talk about you in just a minute. We just said pre-show right before we hit record, hey, you do the open because it's kind of funny when you do the open and
hilarious.
And he goes, I will do it only if you interrupt me. And I was like, I'm not interrupting.
Yeah, you did it. I was waiting for you, and then I was like, I got the whole spiel, and then I purposely sabotaged it so you could.
You know, I got a couple responses. Speaking of our MVP listeners, you, the MVP listener, you listen in, you laugh, you cry, hate on our takes maybe. You must not be hating on our takes because you don't let us know. So we've got a new job for you as the MVP listener. So we're gonna hit this up. I'm jumping right into this. This is before we recap, but you, the MVP listener, we need you. We need to hear from you. We're gonna have one more show before I'm gonna say Christmas and holiday break. I won't just.
We're having one more show.
Is it one more show? I think it's one more show, isn't it?
I thought we were doing to this. I think it's two more. We have 3, including the one we're recording right now.
Okay, so right before Christmas, we're going to take a break for Christmas and New Year's time for a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then we'll jump back in January and we'll come back at you. But what we want to do when we come back from break is we want to know what you, the listener, would like to hear from us. People that don't create content for a living, and we're not doing this for a living because nobody's paying us yet to do this, but
we're still waiting.
Yeah. Amazon, you can send us a check anytime you want, or YouTube, that's fine.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's probably why. Here's a hot take. Maybe this goes viral. This is why the Kelsey Brothers show is doing so well, and the Chiefs are doing so bad. It's because they're so focused on keeping their number one spot instead of us being there that it's losing traction for the chefs to play football because Travis Kelsey is focused on the podcast.
Because he's the only player on the yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the only player. Yeah. It's just like Husker football fans tell Matt Rule to quit doing a podcast because he loses football games because so that makes sense. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
this is the only thing
we need to suck in life more. So then that way people can
speak for yourself. I suck at life just fine.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. We just need to have it so people complain about that we're doing such a good show that everything else is failing, and that's not true. We are not failing.
Yeah. So we're not going to get into the analytics for you and bore you with it, but I will say this to our 2 listeners that ranked us number 1 on their 5 listeners. I thought it was.
There was 5 people.
Listeners that we are their number 1 ranked podcast in their Spotify listening. Just wow. That is very humbling. Thank you, MVP listeners, whoever you are. The 5 of you who've made us number 1. Now there's more. There's more that have made us top. 35% of our listeners go and find us within the first 24 hours of our show being released. So again,
Spotify wrapped us. Spotify for creators, even though we're not creators, like you just said, but we have a creator section on Spotify. They come out with Wrap, just like they do if you have a Spotify subscription. It wraps up what music you listen to, or what podcast you listen to, and how many times you listen to Taylor Swift or Forrest Frank or I don't know, Who
Yeah.
else?
So
Brandon Lake. So yeah, our numbers were just they kind of caught me off guard, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Probably for BJ a little bit. So
it is. And for those of you, here's a little look behind the scenes. I mean, Justin and I had a conversation this week about, what's the life of this thing look like? It, are people really listening? Is it worth it? And as everybody who's come on the show has said, they love our relationship, our friendship, and they love hearing that come through. And that's totally cool. But if nobody's listening to what we're doing, then you and I can just talk on the phone, and we're fine with that. We've been doing it for 30 years.
it's
So
true, 100%.
but thank you. I guess what I'm
Yes,
trying to say is thank you to our listeners for continuing to stay with us, and not just continuing to stay with us. You must be sharing it, because our listener in the last year has increased 100%. So
we're over 100% on most categories on the growth of the podcast, ranking amongst other creators that are probably in the same space. I don't know enough of the analytics, and we're boring people, but I don't know if it's the category we're put in, and we're just in the
we're not
daily life
we're not
stuff.
boring people like if we were talking about hockey, though.
Well, no, we're not boring people at all.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hockey,
What we're trying to say is thank you. So
we should.
muchas gracias for our Espanol amigos.
Oh, no one's. Yeah, we should probably get an episode done just in Spanish.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let AI translate for us.
That'd be interesting.
I learned a new sign language word today.
Oh, I know sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Is that the only one you know?
no, this is what
It's, I know the one that Friends taught us. Yeah. Yep. So
people can't see us, so that's
I know
good.
that's another thing that people have asked. Maybe when people get back to us, maybe they'll say stuff like, "We need to be on video." And
Oh man.
can you imagine that?
No. Then I don't know if I can wear my robe and drink my margarita.
Yeah, sure. Just save that for me only and our guests.
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, thank you, everybody. BJ, how was the last 3 days? How was the last weekend?
Yeah, it's funny because, again, another thing people don't know is we used to record this on, Tuesday nights usually, and it would drop on Wednesday. So then by the time we talked again, but we record on Sundays, then it goes live on Wednesdays usually, and so then it's really been only 3 days, in the listeners' world. But for us, it's been a whole week since we've come back to you. So
Yeah.
a lot has happened. But yeah, you and I talk every day. So the last 3 days, it's been a good weekend. It's been pretty chill. Elliot started basketball. He's varsity basketball player for the
6'11" center, right? 6'11",
5'11".
5'11".
But here's what's crazy:
6'7". He's 6'7", actually.
He's 5'9", and he's the shortest player on the team. And I looked at the roster the other day, and he was listed at 5'11", and I'm thinking he's not 5'11". But here's the funny thing: there's a new kid this year that's played. He's a senior. He's been at the school, and he played on Elliot's 8th grade intramural team. And he's never played for the school since until this year. And he went out for the team, and he made the team as a senior. So there's only one team you can play on. That's the varsity team. But he hasn't played for 4 years,
Yeah.
And he's the backup center. And they have him listed at 5'10". But Elliot listed at 5'11", and Elliot's the backup point guard.
I swear Elliot was taller than that.
No. Ian's like 6'4", 6'3". He's tall.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but he's not playing basketball either.
Well, it'd be weird if he played basketball in high school. High school.
I can't wait to go to high school.
But yeah, I guess I thought Elliot was taller than that the last time I saw him.
No.
Maybe he shrunk since March.
Maybe, but no. But no, he was over. He spends about half the week with us now, and that's awesome. And so But he had 2 games this week, and so they went 1-1 this week, and then they've got 2 games next week as well. So we watched him Friday night, and then I went with my beautiful wife and one of her daughters and a couple of her friends. We went to see the high school putting on. They're putting on a musical called Mamma Mia, which is a very famous play and musical. And I always loved going to those things because I always like one of my bucket list things was to be in a show in a show like that. And my cousin is a playwright and he's written some things and did all of that. And I thought it'd be cool to be in one of his shows, but um, I never have had the nerve to go out and actually audition as an adult. I've done some things for church and different things like that, but never. But anyway, we went and saw Mamma Mia, and it was really awesome. It was really good. I love it watching these high school kids put together such a like a famous play like that or
Yeah.
musical and act, and they're just the talent is. I'm like, wow, that's impressive for just a bunch of high school kids getting together and putting this on. They did a really good job. And there was one of Abby's friends was in it, and she had one of the main songs at the end, and she just has an incredible voice and did a great job. So shout out to Ava White. She did an awesome job. And the Grizz Theater at McMinnville putting on Mamma Mia, they did a great job.
Awesome. I've never visited Grizz Theater during my time in McMinnville.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't have. You were busy.
Is it over there by the Dairy Queen?
No, it's at the school.
Dang it. I was wrong. I would have went to the wrong spot.
Yeah. How about you?
I didn't park in the right parking lot.
No.
Uh,
You had an up and down weekend or week. Yeah, the end of the week and the weekend, but how was yours?
yeah, the week was good. Yep. We celebrated Uncle Jerry's life for we had his funeral on Thursday. So that was obviously the emotions but it was good to have family around and talk and see all everybody from both sides of the family. Just reminiscing about photos. My mom shared a photo or put a photo in the thing. I'm gonna say my mom put together this photo thing, and she put one photo of me. I didn't realize how nerdy I look. And she put a photo in it looked like I had a stroke. But yeah, it was good though. It's the only thing I have to complain about is the photos my mom used. But it wasn't about that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyways, we did that, and Becky and I, and the kids we froze our buns off at Zoo Lights, went and walked around the Zoo Lights, in Lincoln. And then Becky and I finished up some of our training for volunteering. We start this coming week doing every Tuesday. We'll be volunteering at the hospital. So
what does that entail? Like, what are you volunteering? Like at the front desk, like when people come in, info desk type of thing?
We'll be family care hosts over in the surgery waiting area.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we'll be doing that every Tuesday for a couple hours. We'll be volunteering. We have some training this coming week with volunteering, finishing up some volunteering for the college in proctors, I think is what it's called. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Kids will be taking tests or quizzes, and we'll just be sitting in a room giving them all the answers. No, that's not right.
You'll get to yell at them. Quit pulling your sister's hair!
Your sister's in this class? That's weird. She's in middle school. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. So yeah, we're just gonna get busier for some reason. I think it's gonna be good for us.
Well, it's because you have a daughter that's driving now, and you don't have to drive her everywhere. So
no, it's just 100% of that too. And Becky really, her goal is to be a NICU cuddler. And you have to get a lot of hours in. And so when I left Brian because of a couple people, not because of the entity itself. So this is a way for me to be involved, and still be around. I mean, selfishly, then I get to be a part of some of the foundation stuff that I was doing before for golf tournaments and stuff like that. So,
Well,
but yeah,
you still get to be an advocate for the patients and the families, and that's where your heart's at anyway. So that's really cool.
yeah, no, yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting because I told somebody, I sent pictures out to people, and I sent pictures of like my photo ID cut off where it said volunteer, and I was like, I'm back. I'm gonna haunt all of you, and and then I finally told somebody, and they're like, I finally was like, oh, me and Becky are volunteering, and then they said, well, it's gonna be nice. There's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be happy to see you. I'm like, I'm only a volunteer. Like, no one's gonna be that happy to see a volunteer. So, but we'll be at West, which wasn't my campus that I worked at, but I mean, we walk in there and it's just like people. I mean, we barely got to our station, and I ran into like 4 or 5 people. Luckily, that surgical waiting room is all the way in the back corner of the hospital, so we'll kind of be away, but it'll be good. But Becky and I can serve and volunteer together, so that's kind of nice that we can both do our time together at the same time. They kind of, so they don't care.
That's important. That's really important.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, we did that, and like I said, we just kind of chilled out this weekend. A lot of watching sports. Husker sports, had volleyball started this weekend, so the tournament started for volleyball.
And they
dominated,
taking care of business so far. And I was telling Elliot I said, yeah, Husker volleyball is undefeated. They're ranked number 1 going into this tournament. And he's like, oh, and then they're going to lose. I said, nope, this is volleyball. And I said, here's their bracket. I told, he knows a little bit about Danny Busboom and just the connection there. And I said, her last team was Louisville, and she coached them to a top 5 team in the nation. And
yeah,
and she was really good there. I said they're getting ready to play K-State. I said, wait a minute, when they beat K-State, then they're probably going to play Kansas, and when they beat Kansas. And he's like laughing at me. He's like, what do you mean when? I said, yeah, when they beat K-State, when they beat Kansas, then they'll probably play Louisville in the Final Four to get to the Final Four. And
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, good job Husker volleyball. Good job Husker basketball. So that's pretty good too. So
yeah, Husker basketball undefeated, spanking in-state rival today, so that was good.
Are the girls still undefeated? I saw a clip.
Girls are still undefeated as well.
First time in history, like longest win streak in history for boys and girls combined in Husker basketball. They're 9. Is it 9-0 now? 10-0? Yeah. So yeah. So good. Yeah. Well, I mean, even Danny Busboom, as she started as an assistant at Nebraska, and then Cook helped get her that job.
He kind of said you need to go somewhere and then come back. Like he knew that she was going to come back because he was. Yeah.
It was a great story and a great thing, and it's a great story for this tournament. Nebraska's so good. They're so good at volleyball right now.
They got in a positive way. They got kind of pushed by K-State. K-State had 3 Nebraska volleyball, high school volleyball kids on their team. Which, I mean, if you look around rosters, there's a lot of Nebraska kids. I mean, it's crazy to think a state that has population, is less than a lot of places. They pump out some volleyball players, that's for sure.
Well, that's what Elliot said. Elliot said you got like wide receiver U and quarterback U. It's like Nebraska's volleyball U, and I'm like, yeah.
High school volleyball, it's nuts. Those lower classes, they produce some really good players. I mean, Jordan Larson, what size of school was that? Like, if you think about it, It's just crazy stuff. So, So yeah. Other than that, just going about things.
Well, that's good. That's good. We're gonna put out a poll on Instagram, and so make sure you interact with us. I just reposted the post the show put out about our listener and our viewership on Spotify, so that's out there now too. And just really appreciate that. But yeah, we're going to put out a poll on Instagram, so please respond to it and interact with us or email us at the email box 3dayoldpodcast@gmail.com. And we want to hear from you. What do you want? What kind of material do you want us to talk about and have an opinion on in this next
Or who do you want us to
season?
try to go after to interview? Do you have somebody in your life that
Yeah,
we were connected with that you want to hear from? I
yeah,
mean, we have a
yeah,
list of people, but
yeah. I was talking to Josh Gonzalez when we had him on a couple of weeks ago. It's probably been a month ago now, but um, they were having another Belmont youth game night reunion type of thing,
yeah.
get together, and I said, well, make sure you take some pictures, and I said, ask anybody if they want to come on the show. We'll get some more people on the show. So uh,
Yeah, that's just so there are, I mean, even though that we've been friends for how long, there are some people that I've maybe heard their name a few times, but don't know how, that interaction had gone over the years. So it's cool to see
yeah,
and be
yeah,
a part of it. So
agreed. Yep.
so
So
yeah, that's coming. We'll see if we can get some interactions. And then we'll use that. We'll be coming, out of the holidays. We'll come into season 4. Maybe maybe I don't know what season 4 is going to bring.
yeah,
We had all that drama going into season 3. We didn't know what it was going to be.
yeah, we had a little lead up, and now we just don't know.
We really
It's
don't.
so
Yeah,
uncertain. It's kind of like the penny was about 6 months ago.
we didn't know what was going to happen
Just
with it.
didn't
Yeah,
know how it would
yeah.
go. I got to tell you this, though. I went and paid cash for something the other day,
Okay.
and I got change back, and my total was had like penny digits in it. Okay, but I know the penny's still in circulation until it
Correct.
runs out or whatever. But my change that they gave me back was not in pennies.
It was rounded up or down.
Hmm. I did get 2 coins, but my change did not equal 2 coins. So here's my thing:
You
as
blame
somebody,
that on the person who doesn't know how to count change back because the computer didn't do it, or?
no, the computer does everything. But
Oh, okay. Yeah,
as
that's
a
true.
as a person who's still has a bookkeeping business on the side and wants to make sure everything checks out and balances and all of these things, that's going to mess up a lot of people in their business. So if you need a good bookkeeper to clean up your books, give me a call. Thelander Cornerstone Financial. Be happy to do a free consultation for you and throw in some great first quarter discounts as you get ready for your 2026 fiscal year.
Oh, that's just right.
Yeah, it is. Or if you need a cleanup for your 25 taxes,
Yeah, I'd say do you clean it up before the next taxes need to go out?
let me know. I specialize in cleanups and can get that done for you and your CPA ASAP.
And if you need somebody to mess them all up for BJ to clean them up, let me know ahead of time. And then, we can make sure this works out for everybody.
You could take a bag of pennies in to pay for something.
Yeah, back in the day, you say, stock full of pennies and hit somebody with them.
Yeah. Speaking of back in the day, good segue there, Justin. I wanted to do this. We did this last week. I wanted to do this because I think it's kind of cool. Those of our listeners that like history, and I heard another podcast doing this too. But this day in history, I think we're going to add this little segment. So I'm going to do an overall thing, and then also a sports historical moment. This day in history, December 7th is when we're recording this. In 1808, little trivia question for you, Justin, unless you've looked at the show notes.
Nope.
1808. The 4th president of the United States was elected on this day in history. Who was the 4th president of the United States? Do you know?
The 4th president?
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do
I'll
they have a
give you a
university? Do they have a university named after him?
Yes, and they're in the college football playoff.
Oh, they are? Oh, geez. Alabama, because they deserve to be there. Is there Harold Alabama?
No.
So it's not George Washington University. They're not. So it's got to be James Madison.
It's James Madison, the
Yeah,
4th
look at that.
president of the United States, was elected on this day in history. So here's a sports one, though. That was kind of sports. But speaking of James Madison, though, Elliot was over and we were playing some college football. And we have a season, a dynasty going that we play together on the same team and have fun with that. And we just changed teams this year, and we we went to James Madison, who was a 1-star team on the game,
Yeah.
to try to resurrect the Dukes. Anyway,
This day in history also is Attack on Pearl Harbor as well. 1941, December 7th. Yep.
Okay.
So
okay.
I didn't want to leave that out.
That seemed like the obvious one. So
yeah, no, and this is the first year there hasn't been a survivor. Like everybody who survived Pearl Harbor has passed away. This is the first year they haven't had a survivor come to their celebration. This is the first year of it.
Interesting. That's interesting. Well, before that happened, in 1937, the Boston Red Sox acquired arguably one of the greatest hitters they've ever had and baseball has ever seen. Who was it?
In 1937 for the Red Sox?
Yep.
Well, it's not going to be Babe Ruth.
Nope.
Is his head frozen?
You're good, man. Ted Williams.
Yeah.
Ted Williams, the Boston Red Sox.
Back in that day, I wouldn't know any other names.
I know.
I don't know who else I would say. I'm trying to think who else I would say.
Yeah, no, those are good. I'm not a big history buff, but it's kind of cool to see what's happened on this day. So December 7th.
Ted Williams, fun fact, baseball fact, in military, served twice. He left baseball twice to serve and come back, I believe.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
So that's another fun fact.
He could have probably been the all-time hits leader if he
100%.
wouldn't have had this. If he wouldn't have chosen to go serve our country in the ways that he did. So, and people told him not to, but he chose to go fight for our country and our freedoms, and so thank you for that as well. But yeah, there you go. This day in history.
This day in history.
A new segment until our listeners tell us otherwise.
Well, yeah. They have to communicate to us, so communication is good, key.
Yeah. Here's another segment we're throwing around. We're doing all the test piloting tonight.
We're gonna test pilot everything for 3 weeks, and then we're gonna go away for our break.
All of our listeners are gonna be like, "No, I don't want to hear this anymore."
For our break, they'll be like, "Oh, they went off the air. I guess it didn't work very well." But no, everybody, we will come back after the holidays, and we have 3 more weeks. There, just putting it out there.
So the other segment we're throwing around is the wrong questions to the wrong people at the wrong time.
Yeah. Oops, we should have asked the question 3 days earlier.
3 days earlier, yeah. 3-day-old questions. But have you ever been? Let me lead this into it. This is just off the cuff for those of you that don't know.
No, you're good.
Have you ever thought about something and you're like, man, that's not a hard problem to solve. If they would have just asked me, we could have fixed this a long time ago. And it could be anything.
That's my life in a nutshell at work.
Right. And,
yeah.
You know, Heidi and I talk about that all the time. We'll be driving down the street and it's like, this street kind of isn't angled right. Why didn't they think this through? You know, it's kind of like the movie Meet the Robinsons when the big dinosaur guy is in the corner trying to get him, and he's got the little arms, and he goes, "Somebody didn't think this all the way through." That's what we're talking about. Something that could have been solved if you would have asked the right question to the right person at the right time. Yeah. So there's a lot of things in our world that we think we could fix or we have an opinion about that really makes way more sense than the logic that was done. And one of those things that we're dealing with today is the college football playoff.
Ugh.
And so
crazy.
I guess we have to get into it because we're kind of a relationship / friendship / comedy / sports niche is our podcast genre.
BJ's a closeted Notre Dame fan, so he's going to go on his spiel here.
I am, but it won't be what you think. So
I know.
I
know it won't.
I was really glad even though we'll get into our picks later, and we both picked. We picked all of our football picks the same, so our record this week was the same, and we both missed on the Indiana Ohio State game. Um, but Indiana winning the Big Ten and being 13-0 and being the number one seed for the first time ever, and this I didn't realize this about Indiana. Indiana is the losingest football program in college football,
Yeah,
in the history of college football.
not good.
And they're number
Until
one.
this year
Yeah, well, and
and
last
last
year.
year and last
So
year, yes.
what an incredible run. What a great job by Coach Signetti and the staff there at Indiana. And he's full of just coach speak.
Well, he's an Ella. He came from the Saban tree, didn't
Saban
he?
tree,
Yeah.
yeah. And he was at James Madison. That's why James Madison is, they're carried over into he built James Madison back up. And anyway, so the college football playoff. Before we get into our analytics of what happened, is there anything about sports in general, Justin, or college football or college sports that you would change the format because it just doesn't? It would make more sense.
Well, the format or just the way they go about picking. I think if you're going to have a committee of people to pick, let's just college football playoff, let's not have people who are heavily influenced from those universities or former universities, or they still have ADs who are active ADs that have football programs. Like, put an AD on from a school that has no football, like Creighton or something. Put the AD on from there. Put the just somebody that's not influenced heavily, because this whole notion of the college football committee saying, like, giving some credence to Alabama playing a really close game, and they had this one play on 4th and 1. Like, they literally made these comments like, well, Alabama, they had this 4th and 1 or whatever it was, and they had a tough game against a 5-7 Auburn, and it's like, okay, well, you're a 3-loss team still, but they get them in, and they jump, their ranking gets changed, and they get to be the 5th team in for college football. And I don't think we need five teams from one conference should not be in for a 12-team playoff. Like, at some point, you have to have a cap. I think 12's too many. Anyways, should just be 8. If you're not one of the top 8 schools, you shouldn't be playing.
So then what I hear you saying is, by your logic, it should be the top 8 ranked teams go.
Well, I mean, at some point, we have to decide about the conference championships. Are they worth it? Because they use it against, it works for some people to be in the conference championship. So BYU, even though BYU lost to Texas Tech twice and got blown out both times, quote unquote.
Okay.
Yep. They still made it to the championship. And then, but the crux of it is everybody, the ESPNs and ABCs who are in bed with SEC said, well, Alabama made it to the championship. We shouldn't use that against them. So it's not fair.
So
you shouldn't have to. I don't know. There's got to be a easier.
You've said your argument twice now in your little spiel here, and that's fine. And I respect your argument and your stance on it. But I did hear the commissioner's interview today on the show, and his explanation made total sense to me. So again, I go back to when you ask the right question at the right time and you ask for an explanation and the question is answered. A lot of times, people in that power place don't answer the question; they dodge the question.
Yeah.
And so Reese Davis was trying to get him to explain the process, not the result, but the process. And what I respected about what he said, and it was like a light bulb moment for me, because we look at the rankings every single week and we're like, man, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Why did it change this way this week and it was different last week? And his answer was really good, I thought. He said, you know what? We look at it every single week in the real time for that week. So what the committee is charged with, all of the people on that committee are charged with, is ranking the top 25 teams. And as they rank the 25 teams every week, then they look at them in tiers of like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and they compare them for that week alone. And so all the noise that you're hearing about, well, Miami Notre Dame played head-to-head back on August 31st, and head-to-head should matter. And they say it matters here, but it doesn't matter here. Well, the reason they say that is because what they're doing is they're taking it out of context to what they're looking at. The committee's only looking at that week. So to your point, I'm going to try to argue this to be devil's advocate. And my mom said I should have been an attorney, because I personally probably agree more with you than I do on the other side of it, but I'm just going to argue it for argument's
That's fine.
sake here. It makes sense for the conference championship because Alabama played in it.
Yeah.
And so, and yes, they got beat pretty
But so
handily
did
this time.
BYU.
But here's my argument to that this week. The week that they played Texas Tech in the regular season, Texas Tech throttled them. The week that they played Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship, Texas Tech handled them. So by logic, in the Big 12, the number one team handled the number two team pretty handily. So that means there's only really one team good enough in that conference to be there.
So by that logic, by just saying the top two teams in the Big 12, right?
And just in that conference, just looking at those two teams. So
but the SEC, we're saying Georgia and Alabama are the top two teams because they're in the championship game, right?
Well,
even though we don't really agree with that.
No, we don't, because of the way the schedule shakes out. And that's because that's the conference's problem for having 18 or 19 or 64 teams in your conference.
Correct. Yeah.
That's on their own fault.
I think that's the issue. Yes.
Yeah. And that's why we're not going to get to a 64 team football playoff. That's ridiculous. But what we are going to get to, and I heard one guy say this, not on the committee, on the other show I watched or listened to, they said, what we really need to say, and really nobody has a problem with this now that NIL's involved, football is NFL minor league. And it's NFL G League. And let's just call it what it is. It's professional football at schools, sponsored by schools. And so let's just call it what it is and let it be what it is. Let's get these conferences to stop being conferences. And if you're going to put 30 teams, 60 teams, and you do an aggregate type of soccer kind of, you advanced and you get demoted and you have these two different, you got AAA and you got AA, however you want to do it, there's ways to do it. But the way it is now, it's flawed because we still have conference commissioners saying, I want the money, I want my schools to be taken care of. And that's why we have 19 teams in the Big Ten. It's ridiculous.
No, and I don't, if each conference can't be equal or have a way where they can all play head to head, they can play every person in the conference, just like the Big 12, right? They can play everybody. They can have one game against each other. That balances out the conference. If you can't get to that, then, or your conferences get so big, it has to turn into like divisions, right? You have to win your division. So at that point, you only get I don't know. You couldn't be any bigger than, I don't know, 18 teams per league. So, but you would have to get every conference to agree on that, and you can't do that because everybody's in quote unquote in bed with the media on what school, where they're getting their money from. And so, I mean, it is a cash grab. I don't know. It's the same thing with like ACC. ACC has such a joke about their conference championship that a 7-5 team won their conference this weekend, and they don't even get into the playoffs, which I understand because they weren't ranked high enough. But it's like, well, what's the point of winning the conference if it's not going to mean anything?
Well, and for that argument with the ACC, their bylaws screwed them.
Well, no, I know.
They created their bylaws in such a way because they're the conference that still kind of does play each other in conference or cross conference. So their similarity of schedule is there. But what they didn't write into their bylaws is the ranking of the highest team in the rankings being there and should be an automatic. And it's just dumb. But anyway, this guy said what I thought was really good was when the first college football playoff polls came out. So once the AP poll goes out midway through the season and they start only honing in on the playoff, Miami had just lost 2 of 3, so 2 of their 2 losses in a row. And it was after they had beaten Notre Dame. So Notre Dame had already climbed back up. But Miami had lost 2 of 3. And so when that first poll came out, Miami was 18th and Notre Dame was like 10 or something. So they weren't even in the same tier as the committee says they're looking week to week. And so people start griping and complaining about. So then the next time they can move a little bit closer, but they're still not there to evaluate them head to head. So Notre Dame's still higher because Notre Dame won 10 in a row and all this stuff eventually. So the only time that it came into play for Notre Dame and Miami was this week when they finally ranked. They said because of BYU's losses, they felt like Miami was a better team than BYU. So they put Miami above them, and that put them right next to Notre Dame in the rankings. And therefore, Notre Dame and Miami had to be evaluated head to head, which is what everybody's been bitching about. So they're evaluated head to head, and Miami won. Now, if you and this committee guy said he made everybody on the committee go back this week and watch the Notre Dame Miami game. And if you watch the Notre Dame Miami game, Notre Dame won that game. They handled that game the entire game, and Miami ended up winning by the score. Right? It was one of those games that it was close the whole way, but Notre Dame should have won that game. And I'm not just saying that as a fan. It just didn't go their way. And so now when you look at it from head to head, like all the fans have been crying about, Miami beat them, so Miami's in and Notre Dame's out. Sorry about you.
Yeah. So I think this segment started as about what we would change. What we would change. Not have people on this. Do an Instagram poll, like you're gonna go out and do our Instagram polls and tell us what you'd like. I just think, yeah, you have to. Sometimes I think having blind resumes is kind of nice.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that. That would be kind of cool.
Because I think blind resumes should go if you're not in the top. I just think if you're not ranked in the top 8, I think one of the things I thought about is the 4 main conferences. If you have 2, like your head-to-head in the conference championship, quote-unquote, shouldn't matter if you are in the top 8, right? So like Ohio State, Indiana, it didn't really matter who won or lost. They were both going to be in the playoffs. Like that didn't matter. And from a seeding standpoint, I don't think it really mattered how they won or lost, either of them. But so anyways, I think doing something like that where you have conference championships, and then if someone's got a record, I think 10-2 is a good, like, if you're gonna have 12 teams, 10-2 is like a good spot where you cut off. If you have like 3 or more losses, no matter what your
we're going to disagree on this, and it's fine. It doesn't matter. But I mean, I just don't. I don't think you would even argue this. Do you? Let me just ask you this flat out. Then, do you think Alabama is a better football team? If Alabama and BYU played Saturday, who would win?
Where are they playing at? No, I'm joking.
They're playing at Boise State.
Playing on the Bluefield. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you look how they both play, I mean, I guess it just depends. I think that they're probably fairly equal.
Maybe so, and BYU might be a bad example. So here's a better example, in my opinion, because I don't. Again, this is about the way the bylaws are written.
Correct.
This is really what it comes down to. Because if there's no bylaws, there's no way that Tulane and James Madison are in this tournament.
Well, but
there's no way they should be, because nobody can sit here and argue with me that James Madison or Tulane has a chance to win the national championship as the best team in college football.
Yeah. Well,
nobody's going to argue that with you. And they're like, well, that's why we play the game. Yeah, play the game and see 6 of your players get hurt because Alabama is 10 times bigger than you.
Well, no, I mean, there's some truth to that.
And that's why these conferences are so big. But that's why there's not equality. There's not equality when you're talking SEC and you're talking Big Ten and you're talking some of the teams in the Big 12 and some in the ACC. I mean, there's not equality. There just isn't. And the fact of the matter is, Oklahoma and Alabama, Texas A&M, Texas, Georgia. I mean, when you talk about the deepest conference in college football, there's no doubt about it that it's the SEC, because there's 20 teams in the conference and the top 11 are ranked.
Yeah.
So even in the Big Ten, now the Big Ten has the better top teams, I would argue. I would say that the top teams in the Big Ten are going to be the best teams at the end of the day, with the top teams in the SEC. But when you talk about depth, the Big Ten's not even going 6 or 7 deep with saying they deserve to be in this conversation.
Yeah. I think it's. I think that's why my comment earlier is they should just. It should just be the top 8. Like it should only be 8 teams. I think once you get bigger, then we're arguing about the 12th best team.
Yeah.
And really, is that really going to win the championship?
Exactly. And that's somebody made the comment. It's like arguing who the first 4 are playing in the basket. No, it's not. It's not, because this is football. It's a whole different game. It's a whole different process, and you're not going to get it. I guarantee you, James Madison is not playing in the national championship game.
No. I would like to see a play-in style, like these teams that are on the fence.
Okay, so here's my
Yeah, so a play-in style. I would like to see that.
Okay, so here's
that
my
model.
Because now we're getting into caveats that change the whole thing, right? To your point about the conference championship, if your top 2 teams are already locked in, then move that conference championship game to be a play-in game. So you move your number 3 and your number 4, or your teams that are battling for contention, like the Vanderbilts, like the Miami, or whomever it might be, that could say, you know what, because Indiana and Ohio State's already there, it's going to be, Oregon and X, or it's going to be in the SEC because Bama and Georgia are already. That's going to be, Vanderbilt and Texas vying for this play-in. I think that would be a way to treat that.
I think 3 should be the max per conference.
Well, that's another caveat that happens.
Because that's what I'm saying is like you have a play-in, like you said. Didn't matter what Indiana and Ohio State were going to do. Both of them were going to make the playoffs. So yes, that next weekend. And then would you just crown them champions or whatever? I like somehow somebody will say, the traditionalists will say that they need to have a champion, right? Blah, 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 blah. But you can still give a champions weekend. And I think that's what conferences actually should do is during COVID, like the Big Ten did like a champions weekend where they played a conference championship, but then they had other games go on. I think that's what conferences should do is have these play-in games on the same weekend of championship weekend. You can still have you can still have a football weekend, right? You could have the Friday night and Saturday night games, but then during the day are all like kind of the kind of putting you in a spot or playing in a spot, or have that weekend where you say, well, you know what, Miami and Notre Dame, you need to play each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be something. Because then you're still getting TV money, right? You're still getting viewerships.
And at this point of the season, everybody's going to watch that.
Yeah. I think something like that model would work, where you would use that as a concept to play in, but then you just make playoffs smaller. Like you would have to make the playoffs smaller.
In that case, then everybody also, this is another thing that bothers me, is then everybody has 13 games instead of 12. And so you've got you're evaluating against the same number of games rather than these people that get the extra game at the conference championship, that now you've got 13-0, or you got 11
Correct.
and 11.
Anybody, and 3, yeah, I think the extra game on championship weekend could suffice that. And I think that would make it an even 13 games. Everybody wouldn't be as equal. The head-to-head should figure itself out. And at that point, if you didn't win that weekend, you shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't we just do what the FCS does? They have a playoff. No one argues about that.
Oh, I'm sure they do, but nobody cares.
See, there we go. So, anyways.
It's kind of like, somebody says to you, how you doing? It's like, well, I can't complain. And they say, well, I can't complain because if I did, nobody'd listen,
Well, that's true.
It's just, this is where we're at. It's like you're saying, I get what you're saying. 8 teams, then you were arguing about the 12th best team. Yeah, but then we're going to argue about the 8th best team. It's always going to be whoever's not in. We did the same thing with 4. It's like we're battling over 5 and 6, so.
Well, but I mean, I think 8 is a good number. Like, I really do. I think at that point you could say automatic bids for conference champions. That makes teams aligned to get into a conference, right or wrong.
Yeah, that won't happen.
No, but I mean, somebody used this analogy as like BYU was never getting a shot before, and then they had to join a conference, and they join a conference, and then they
Yeah,
get screwed, whatever. I mean, but Notre Dame,
they
I
didn't
mean,
get screwed. They lost the game.
no, I know. But Notre Dame, I mean, here's the other thing is like on top of this, the way this is all going, like bowl season is just like all these teams are opting out. Like even Notre Dame. Notre Dame's like, we'll just go home and we'll just sit. Even though we love TV money, we'll take TV money every day, but for the fans, a bowl game for our fans is good. But no, we didn't get selected, so we'll just go home. And that might be an over dramatic situation, but
Yeah,
they're not having anything going on like an Iowa State or a K-State where they've made changes to head coaches and they were going to be on a lower tier. Like that makes sense. Like they opted out. Like they don't even have coaches they just got named. Like,
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying there about the bowl games, and so that brings another thing into play. You talk about money, you talk about notoriety, you talk about tradition, and now what you're doing because of what you just said, now you're taking away one of the most beautiful things about college football is the bowl season,
correct.
and now you're diminishing that. And these sponsors, these places where the money is coming from for NIL and coaches contracts and all these things, these companies that are putting on these shows, now you're going to opt out and basically tell the person who's feeding you. You know the saying, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you."
Did you?
Now you're
Yeah.
biting the hand that feeds you because these sponsors aren't going to come sponsor you anymore, and now your NIL money just dropped by $1 million.
Yeah. Well, and some would argue that Notre Dame's not really worried about that, but
I get it. There's always an exception to the rule, but I'm saying, you talk about not having a coach. Tulane and North Texas and James Madison, all their coaches are leaving too.
yeah.
Ole Miss doesn't have a coach, but they're still playing.
Yeah, but
So,
their coach offered to stay, and they weren't. He wasn't allowed. But
I mean, that's a whole different
that's a whole
discussion.
other topic. Yeah.
Just playing devil's advocate here. I
No,
mean,
no,
anybody without a coach, you can call me and I'll give my
you'll
resume.
do it. I mean, well, 100%. So, but no, that's the interesting thing about. I mean, I think there has to be somebody in the room needs to be smarter. Use the bowls to help with this. I don't know why we haven't got to there yet. Like, use the bowls for the lower tiers. Like, use that to accommodate.
I don't. That's the other
They're
thing.
using the bowls for the college football playoff, yes, but why don't you use it for like the play-in games and stuff?
Or even there. Oh, I just hate the fact that those big bowl games aren't even for the whole thing. It's like the Rose Bowl is a semifinal game or a quarterfinal game. It's like, come on.
Well, I mean, the Rose Bowl itself, it'll have its Rose Bowl, and then if they're, the years that they host the championship, you get to have a national championship at the Rose Bowl, and it's not even the Rose Bowl. Yeah. So.
I mean, and I get that to a degree in the rotation of the major bowls like that. But I'm just like, what? You're not even. So I'm with you. Use the bowls as the.
And then that way it keeps sponsorships in.
Yep.
But then some people would say then you might not have people that travel. There's a devil's advocate for both sides.
There
Like
is.
I get it. I think, but there's not an entity that says that besides conferences who align with bowls and sponsorship is they get fined for not going now. This is a thing, I guess. I didn't know that was a thing until Iowa State and K-State got fined for not going. Yeah, they each got fined $500,000. Do you think that really hurt them? They probably did, maybe. But, these conferences, first off, the conferences, quote unquote, themselves, like the Pac-12 still has a bowl alignment. So any school that was formerly aligned with a bowl game that was in the Pac-12, that's why Nebraska's playing Utah, because Las Vegas Bowl is aligned with the Pac-12.
Right. Okay.
So essentially, since the Pac-12 it's not really a conference anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's got two teams. That's why Utah got selected,
Interesting.
or their pick went to the Big 10, Big 12. That's why Utah got selected, because Las Vegas was aligned with the Pac-12 and the Big 10. And so, fun fact. So it's still interesting that a conference who barely doesn't have enough people to have a championship has an alignment with a bowl. Like that whole thing needs to be redone. And how you do that, who you do it with, I don't really know. Either way, we've lost all of our women viewership or listenerships.
Well, probably not. We have some that like college football, and that's good. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get off of this. We're going to come back and pick the college football playoff in the next week. But we're going to do something different for our picks as we close out our show this week. Let me give you an update after last week, and we're still waiting on our basketball picks. I think Pat Riley's going to win the NBA Cup.
Pat Riley, I think he's going to be always the guy that wins.
Yep.
He's
Justin's record is after last week. We both went 2-3 in our football picks, and Justin has a record overall of 13-22.
He's amazing,
and I'm sitting at a record of 16-19. So I've got a 3-game lead on him. But we're going to do something different. We haven't talked about this. We didn't pre-select our picks, but Justin's going to pick 3 games that I don't know that he's picking, and I'm going to pick 3 games that he doesn't know I'm picking, and we're going to pick these 6 games this week together. So, Justin, I'm going to let you go first. Any sport, any pick you want to make, what do you got for me tonight?
Sport. We are going to go with the NHL.
Okay.
On the 12th, December 12th, right? I think that'd be right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm making sure I'm picking the right week because it'd be really bad if I picked the wrong week and then we're like, well, we gotta wait. The Blackhawks and the Blues are playing each other at the Blues. Yeah. So I mean, this is gonna be straight up picks because we're a little too far out. I don't even know. I don't know nothing about hockey, but. If I make the selection, do you pick first and then I go, or do I pick?
I can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
Quick. I've seen both of these teams play in person in the NHL
this year already. Jeez,
look
at you.
No.
I'm just joking.
No, but this is it's not a opinion. The national anthem at a Blackhawks game is the best national anthem ever. It's really cool. You're standing there, you're looking at the flag, and when they get to the end of they start talking about the lyrics, start talking about the flag. You look up and they have wind make the flag start to move.
Oh, really?
And wave.
That's cool.
It's really cool. It's really powerful. I get goosebumps just talking about it. But that is not the team. I don't root for follow either one of these teams because I'm an Avs person, but that's another rival for these teams. But I'm going to go Blues. I'm going to go to my old hometown and my brother's favorite team. I'm going Blues.
Yeah, and your brother's favorite team. I think my brother also follows the Blues because of your brother.
Yep.
So I think because did you know? I use this app called the Score app. They tell me what the matchup is based off of certain things like home record, division record, all that stuff, streaks, average height, average weight, and average age of the player. So due to that, because the Blues weigh more, I'm picking the Blues. The Blues on average weigh 202.5 pounds versus the Blackhawks. I have never seen that before on an app, but whatever. So there's that one. Am I doing 3 right in a row, or
no?
Okay, I was like, jeez.
I'm going to go NFL. We're going to go back to college here, or NFL, not college. And I'm going to pick I would not watch this game even if I could watch this game. And let's just not do the lines tonight. Let's just go with
head up. Yeah.
I'm going Commanders at the Giants. Commanders
at the Giants?
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Commanders are injury prone. Zach Ertz got destroyed today. His knee got destroyed. Daniels tried to hurt himself. I think he actually left the game, to be honest with you. But it's also the Giants too. I guess I'm gonna go. I'll go Giants because it's at home. I think it's at home.
You're going Giants. Yeah, it is in New York. Okay.
I'll
All
go
right.
Giants.
Go ahead and go with your next one.
Who are you going with?
Oh, I said, I'm going Commanders.
Oh, going Commando. Got it.
Going Washington football team.
Well, we're gonna stay in pro football. That same weekend. Even though they had a chance to keep their playoff run going, but Cowboys versus Vikings. Ooh, barn burner. Fun fact: Vikings 2 weeks in a row got shut out one week and then shut out an opponent this week. So who knows what you're going to get with the Vikings? But
So
it's
Cowboys at Vikings?
no. Vikings are at the Cowboys.
Vikings at the Cowboys. Okay.
Yeah. It's the Sunday night special.
Okay.
Wait, we can't pick that one.
Why?
Oh yeah, we can. I'm picking Cowboys by 10.
Okay. I'm going Cowboys too. I think the Cowboys are turning the corner, and I think the Cowboys are going to do it for sure. So I think they win this. I think they win that game. Yeah. I'm going a different sport, and I'm going to try to get a win here, hoping that you haven't seen this one here. Let's see if I can spread my lead a little bit. I'm going soccer. We're going Spanish La Liga. We're going Barcelona. Barcelona at Osasuna.
Give me Spain.
I think they're both in Spain.
Oh, dang it. I'll take Barcelona.
Okay.
Because that was the only one you could pronounce.
Barcelona.
Jeez, you went down the rabbit hole, didn't you?
Well, I'm going Barcelona as well because they're 13-1, so that backfired.
That's okay. Well, it's that time of year where we still have a regular season in college football to go. That's not a bowl game, but Army Navy. Let's just put this 2 weeks after everything else is done, Army Navy. But Army Navy play this coming weekend.
Okay.
All right, 6-5 Army versus 9-2 Navy. What do you got?
Well, I'm really more of an Air Force guy myself. I was an Air Force guy before my son signed up to be an airman, but I love the Service Academy football. I just do. I think it's really cool that these guys get to play football while they serve our country, and I think that's pretty cool. So, Army Navy, I tend when it comes to football, I tend to lean more Navy just in who I like, not necessarily because of football reasons. I just like the Navy more than I like Army, I guess. And when it comes to their football teams, so I'm going to go Navy. I'm going to go midshipman.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to go Navy as well, which I know is not what we want because we want to get some gaining on here. But when Army averages like nothing for passing, and they're like their longest passing is like 70 yards, that doesn't really intrigue me too much.
Yeah, I get that.
But Navy's got a decent team this year, so maybe they'll make the playoffs. They're 9-2. How do they look at that? Like, what if Navy was in play for the playoffs right now?
But Navy's in a conference, aren't they?
I think so.
They're in the American, and so if they were, I mean, there's been some years that the service academies have been ranked.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think if they're in a conference and they end up getting into a conference that has like these lower 5 teams, like the Tulanes or the James Madisons, and they win it, then by all means, get them in there.
But what would they have to? Would they have to move this game?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because the selection show is this weekend, and the game's not till next weekend. They're always a week off.
Possibly.
Because the Army-Navy weekend is always the same weekend as the Heisman and the award ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you had an undefeated Army or Navy, like, why don't we root for chaos and have that happen? That's what we need.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So we're both going Navy. We're both going Barcelona. We're both going
Yeah.
Cowboys. We're both
We need
going
to.
Blues. Well,
Are you picking your third one right now?
I am. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going NBA.
Oh, my favorite.
We're going NBA next Friday night. You have to pick one of Jordan's former teams, as the Bulls are going to Charlotte to play the Hornets.
Ooh, Bulls versus the Hornets.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Charlotte.
Okay, good. I already put mine in, but I was going to change it so it would be opposite of you but it was opposite. I'm picking Bulls, so
Okay.
here I am, a true
You gonna
fan
tell a
again of
story
our
about
team,
how
and so here we go.
you gonna tell a story about how you saw the Bulls one time
I
in
have
person?
seen the Bulls in person. I've seen the Bulls in person a couple times, actually.
You went with Ian, right, for his birthday?
Yeah,
Or
we
was it
took
Elliot?
Ian, and Ian's going to be on the show in January, so be looking for
Oh,
that. He's
breaking
gonna come on.
news! Breaking news! January. Is he gonna have a huge announcement?
I don't think so, but he's busy. His birthday's in December, like right after yours, and he's busy with lots of stuff in December, and so he said he'd come on in January, so we're going to get that to happen. But yeah, I went to see with Ian. We took him for his birthday, and we saw the Kings play that night against the Bulls, and we were sitting in, I think, the fourth row behind the basket. That was really cool. That was fun.
Michael Jordan came to Lincoln one time and played at Devaney when the Bulls came and played their expedition. I think it was at Devaney. I don't think that was at Pershing. I think that was at Devaney.
Yeah. Well, then, speaking of the Bulls and the Blackhawks, another Bulls story for you since you asked.
Oh, yeah. No, since the listeners asked.
We took our boys. When Brady lived in Chicago, he got us some hockey tickets to go see the Blackhawks. We were up in Chicago for Christmas one year, and he got us some tickets to go see the Blackhawks play. And so we took my two boys with us to the hockey game and had a lot of fun. Well, then the next night, Brady's like, we're hanging around the house. He's like, why don't we see if we can scalp some tickets and go see the Bulls tonight? And I'm like, okay, let's go. So just Brady and I went down to the United Center and got a couple tickets for $10 or something like that, and went and saw the Pistons play we were sitting up in the nosebleeds, and it was amazing in the same arena how they turned that around for the two different teams and the two different sports in the back-to-back nights. It was really cool. But we saw a 3 overtime game.
Jeez.
That night.
Oh, jeez.
Needless to say, my ex-wife was not very happy when I was at that. So there we go. There's my two Bulls stories for you.
Did I have my third game picked out yet?
Yeah, you did already. You picked. So to recap, we got the Blackhawks and the Blues. That was yours. Yeah. Yours was the Vikings
Cowboys,
and the Cowboys,
and then Army
and
Navy.
then Army Navy. So
gotcha.
And then we went Commanders, Giants, Barcelona, Asusanu, and Bulls, Hornets. I'm going to have to do some research to find these scores next week when we recap our records.
Well, especially the soccer one.
Yeah,
it's a good thing we didn't bet on any actual lines.
Yeah.
Over under how many flops in that game?
How many times will the stretcher be ran out onto the field?
Oh, yeah.
Or I should say onto the kit. Or onto the pitch. The pitch. No, we're done. It did.
And some guy won.
You didn't see who won?
I know who won the race, but the overall Max won the race today. Okay. But
and he needed to win it, I believe.
He needed to have. What's his name? Dang it, Lando.
Yeah.
Lando was ahead, and he needed to finish fourth or worse, but he finished third, and so even though Max won the race. So all you F1 fans who are wondering how the season ended.
So here's the standings. Lando had 423 points, 7 wins, and 18 podiums. Max Verstappen had 421 points, 2-point difference.
Yeah.
And Max had 8 wins and 15 podiums.
But he's won the last 4 years or something like that, so.
Yeah, and he had to win the last 2 races and Lando to finish second or worse, or not finish second in both of them, or average second, and evidently that didn't happen. So,
well, it's because Lando drives a Millennium Falcon. That's why.
Yeah, the 2 McLaren drivers were first and third on the standings for the year.
So, if people were wondering, we did talk about it earlier this year. So,
yeah,
the season's over. All of us can cry now.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
So, anyways, all right, man.
Well, we spent a lot of time arguing. We should probably get off the.
We spent a lot of time on sports. That's okay. I'm not gonna.
Well,
I'm not gonna apologize.
Here it is. Here, our visitors. Yeah, our MVP listeners get to decide the content for season 4. And
each week?
No, not necessarily. But
just they need it. We need some. We work all day. We can't think of content.
And we know that the MVP listener works all day. We just need them to put in their water cooler talk to our ears so we know what to talk about.
We already know what Boomer's gonna say. Let's talk NBA basketball. Let's talk the NBA Cup. You guys. Okay, that's enough. All right. It is super late at night. We are delusional. We're losing our minds.
Well,
best way to finish the podcast.
And here's to the next 3 days. I hope it's good for you. So,
same to you, man.
Have a great week, and thanks for listening in. And we hope to hear from you on Instagram. So we'll see you next time.
See ya.